are they?
Hello. I think I'm on.
You are.
It's so early. Welcome, everybody. It's Kate Richburg on Free Tip Friday. We're popping on a little bit earlier, even. Oh, am I talking? That's okay. We're monitoring all of the feeds and everything, so you might have heard a little feedback there. Well, good morning. It's Kate Richburg live from beadshop.com, and it's Free Tip Friday. Oh my gosh, it's early out here in California. Well, not that early for us. We get in here pretty early, but it's 7:30 a.m. on the West Coast. And so hopefully you guys all saw that we were coming on a little bit early. If you do look for the Free Tip Friday broadcast at our regular time at 10:30 and you're looking around going, hey, where'd they go? We just had to come on a little bit earlier today. I didn't want to skip it, but I do have some meetings today that I have to be in. But I didn't want to miss saying hello to you on Friday. So I'm Kate Richburg in front of the camera. I've got Grace on my left. L makes a left. Brandon on my right. It's not an L, so I know it's my right. And you guys are watching at home. How's everybody doing? How we doing,
Good.
Grace?
Mary says hi and Dee says hi.
Hi,
So,
Mary and Dee.
hello from Ohio and Oklahoma, and Dee says she likes the early time.
I bet you guys do. Well, you never know what's going to happen, but we just thought we'd pop on early and see if you guys liked it as well. But it is 7:30. It's a little early for us, isn't it, Grace?
It is.
Yeah.
Let's see. It says Debbie says she's from Idaho. Kim says good early morning
Good
to you.
morning.
Deb, Sylvia, Nancy. They all say Judy.
Good
Judy's
morning.
in San Jose.
Judy in San Jose. Hello, Judy. How are you?
And we've got Eileen from Pembrokeshire, UK.
Pembrokeshire. I don't know. I've never been there. I just thought it sounded like the right thing to say. Well, welcome. Good morning. Good
Your
morning.
mom's on.
Oh, my mama. Hi, Ma. Hope you're feeling good. My mom still has her summer cold. It's a bummer. Summer cold. I hope you're feeling better. Okay, so I've got a new mix. We've got a new mix. Let me put on my glasses. Can you tell it's early morning? I'm like, let me just go. I'm just going to go take a little nap. We've got our new summer mix, or our new monthly mix for August, and it's called Summer Sky. It's a really pretty one, and you guys can see it on beadshop.com. If you find, so the pathway to find it is if you go to our homepage and you click on seed beads, I believe, Gracie, right? And then you'll see an index photo, I believe, of all the monthly mixes.
It's not in an index under seed beads.
Okay.
It's in seed beads.
In seed beads.
But on beads and gems, it's under
Beads
the
and
index
gems.
is there.
Okay, and you'll find it. You can also search Summer Sky, and you can also search, I bet you can search monthly mix, and it'll come up as well. So for July, we had Strawberry Lemonade, which some of you may remember, which was a really pretty color mix. But we went for August. We called this one Summer Sky, and it's a bunch of blues. And I have them kind of all out here, and we'll move the camera in a little bit so you guys can see. But the mixes are really fun. They are a mix of just different sizes of seed beads from 11/aughts all the way up to 6/aughts. And I thought that for this Free Tip Friday, working with this summer mix, I thought I would talk a little bit about some of the things that you can do with them as it relates to the loom and how it relates to, if you guys remember, Emily's really fantastic projects, the ombre from bracelet from Seed Bead School a couple of weeks ago. And so I'm going to show you a little bit about how these two work together. So without further ado, do we need to move that camera down, Gracie? And then we'll...
How do you want it?
Well, I don't know. You tell me. I don't know. Maybe about right here. So I've got a workspace. There we go. What do you guys think? How does that look? Maybe get a little bit closer so they're not looking at my lap.
Does that work for you?
Yeah. What about? Yeah, I guess that's okay. What do you guys think? Maybe move it back just a hair, just a touch. Whoops. Oops. There we go. I think it's back. I think it's... No, I think I like the front. Just move it a little back so we're not quite at that angle. How do you guys feel about that? We like it? Can we see it? I'm actually going to move it just just like this way, Gracie. There we go. That's what I was hoping for. Right there. How does that look, you guys? Okay? We're good? You can see my necklaces are totally distracting. I'm going to take those off. And I know you guys want to see what I'm wearing. I'll tell you.
Well,
I
Kim
promise.
wants to know what that button is on the table.
I know, right? Eagle Eye Kim. That's right. I'll show you right now. Let me take another sip of coffee, because this really is coffee this time, because it is
Kim said,
7:30.
take a swig of that liquid gold.
Yeah, that's right. Let me do that right now. Okay, delicious. So, you guys may remember when I worked with this one here. Am I in frame? There we go. When I worked with this guy, the strawberry lemonade. We did a couple of things on one thing on Free Tip Friday. This is the creamsicle that I did with it. Sorry, I'm just not. There we go. That's better, huh? Okay. I need to find my working space here. Find your light, Richburg. Find your light. And this was called Creamsicle, and I did this a few Free Tip Fridays ago, and I used that strawberry lemonade mix, and I used the my favorite bead, the shadows. We used some Hishi, some other things in here, and we used a bunch of different threads. This would be a fantastic one to just reinterpret in our summer sky. Here you could just choose blue threads. This was Ceylon. I used kind of an orange Ceylon and kind of this I don't know, coral maybe color, 0.4 millimeter Chinese knotting cord. So you could totally reinterpret this with the blue. And if you're looking for this project, just go ahead and search Creamsicle, and this will come up. The listing is on the blog, and then you can kind of reinterpret it for yourself in the colors that you like using Summer Sky. But let me bring this in. I'm going to move this. Oh, the other thing I wanted to share with you. Remember also when Gracie and I did Across Cultures a few weeks ago, and Grace used the strawberry lemonade as kind of the basis for her color palette for her reinterpretation of Across Cultures. That would also make a great one with these blues. I think it would be really nice. You could use like a silver, replace silver instead of the gold, or whatever you like to do. But it would be a cool one, I think, to reinterpret that way. So let me put these aside.
They call it Breakfast with Kate. Donna says Breakfast with Kate.
Oh,
Dria's stopping by to say hi.
Good morning, Dria.
And then Dee says, how many bead tubes to make this necklace?
Oh, you would definitely only need one for sure, and you'll have some leftovers.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you look in the necklace itself, and I'll bring it up so you can really see it. And you guys can find all of our Free Tip Fridays. They're archived on our YouTube channel, and so you'll be able to find past broadcasts there. But you can see there's a lot of thread and not a lot of beads in this one. So this tube goes really far. So you could do something like this with it, and then, use your leftovers for something else as well. So, so here is the Summer Sky, and I'm going to do something crazy like I like to do, which is I'm going to get my board. Am I in the right? And am I in a really good space right now? Thanks, Grace. I'm just going to open it up, if I can, the seed bead tube.
Well, somebody else says call it Coffee with Kate, and then Melanie says that she had lasagna for breakfast. Oh, and coffee.
Oh, my kind of girl, my kind of breakfast.
Andrea linked the blog for Creamsicle.
Oh,
and she
thanks,
linked
Drea.
the Tip Friday archive.
Oh, great. Thanks, Drea. Thank you, thank you. You can see here's the full tube of...
Drea said that she had gnocchi.
Oh, well, my mom and I were, I was going to make pizza the other night for dinner, and I was talking to my mom on the phone. I was saying, oh, Ma, I'm going to make pizza. And she goes, that's my favorite breakfast is cold pizza. And it's my favorite breakfast, too. It really runs in the family. There we go.
We should try it on
the white?
Just
Is it better? Is it blowing out a little bit?
A little bit.
Well, and I just wanted to show kind of how big the tube. There's a lot of beads in there. So I'm just going to maybe I'll just push this to the side a little bit right here. And then I want to show you guys some of the things that I've been playing with it. Pull that over there. Let me pull this in. And I have a little dish right here of all of them. Okay. And this is, I've used a lot of them there, so you can see my supply is a little depleted. But what I have here in front of you to take a look at is two ways that I've done this. I've done a looming piece with this, and can you see how, and I've just kind of taped off the ends because this was just a little sampler that I was trying it with, but I have 6 rows of looming here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I wanted to loom and see how I liked the big beads looming with the little beads, and I think it makes a really interesting texture. I kind of like the big against the little. The one thing that I did really want to show with this,
Julia calls it like it looks like a mosaic.
yeah, it's very mosaic-like. And see how every time I've loomed, I have 2 11-aughts right there in one little section, because that one 11-aught, if I just use one, it might have pulled everything in a little too tightly. So let me show you how I did this one, and then we'll get to this guy over here. So what I did was I used your friend and mine, the Jewel Loom, right? Super easy to string, really super portable. I love me a Jewel Loom. And so what I did was I strung up the loom, and we have a lot of video. If you go to the Jewel Loom page on beadshop.com, you'll find all the links about how to string it, and I've done it several times on different broadcasts and stuff. So it's pretty simple to use. If you'll notice though, and of course I used blue thread on this blue loom because I'm a genius, but you guys will just have to go with it. If we see here that there's 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 channels of seed beads here on the loom. What I've done here is I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 channels here, because I felt that if I were going to put this loomed piece into a clasp like this clasp, our magnetic clasp woven, you can see, whoops, you can see here how this is just a touch too wide, right? So doing a little tester, this tester, I wanted to just discover a lot of things. I wanted to see how wide 6 across would be. I wanted to see how to kind of line up with the big beads and the small beads. And I wanted to see if I did indeed need to use 2 of the 11-aughts to make up a little row. And so the answer to, I figured out all of those things in the sampler, so now I'd be ready to go with my looming. Now, you can see on this loomed piece, if you want to try looming with kind of odd-shaped beads, or odd, you know, not uniform sizes, I guess is what I'm trying to say. See how this 6-aught, it's pretty big, and see how the 6-aughts are kind of scattered throughout this pattern. You can see a few times there's a 6-aught, a 6-aught, and a 6-aught, how they all kind of come together, and see how this 6-aught kind of pushes this line of 8-aughts out of the way because this big bead is pushing it back. And so what I discovered was when I'm using these 6-aughts, I don't want to use maybe 2 6-aughts in a row, and I don't want to use 2 6-aughts in a row underneath each other as well. Does that make sense? So right here, I think, is the most successful portion of this looming. Yep, question?
It's Trish is asking about the sizing in the bead mix. It's 11, 8, and 6.
11, 8, and 6. That's right, Trish. So 11s are the tiny tinies. 8s are these guys here, and then the 6s are these big guys here. And this is a 6, this one, this one, this one here. So I think the most successful portion of this looming in this little sampler I made is this kind of right here, where all of the sizes are kind of spread out a little bit. So I look at my 8s as kind of the background, and then I sprinkle in my double 11s and my 6s throughout to kind of make it sit kind of nicely. Okay.
Glenda says it's so fascinating with the different shades and sizes. She could look at it for hours.
Oh, thanks. I really thought it was kind of cool. I wasn't sure about it at first, but I think, kind of seeing this project through might be a fun way to experiment and also to kind of give yourself a challenge with the loom.
Mm-hmm.
I also used thread-wise, I used KO, and we've got the KO here. I also experimented. Brad, would you mind grabbing me a micro Ceylon? I was going to grab that. Like the peacock blue, I think, was the one I was going to use. The KO, you guys, I liked well enough to use. I thought it loomed well, and I've warped my loom with it again. And I think it works. If you want a thread, thanks, Bran. If you want a thread that maybe is a little bit heavier and shows maybe it'll be a little more, I don't know, thread forward, I don't know, to use kind of a wine tasting term, fruit forward. But using it in kind of this darker contrast also might give it kind of an interesting look as well. Yeah, question?
It's just a cute comment.
Yeah.
Deborah says, morning, just woke up. Did I miss something? Isn't it like 8 a.m.?
It is. Sorry, Deborah. Free Tip Friday is coming at you early this Friday because I've got meetings today. So, and I put it up on Facebook and it went out in the newsletter as well, but I knew that some of you would be surprised. So, surprise! Good morning!
Drea says it's very cool, very underwatery, and Virginia says, I agree, Drea. It reminds her of the sea and mermaids.
Yeah, like we could call it the mermaid's couch. Well, it's not really a couch. The mermaid's chaise. Yeah, divan. Yes. Yes.
And Glenda says, did you have a pattern in mind at the outset, or did you use random groupings? And Eileen calls it very Klimtish.
It is Klimtish,
It is.
Especially if I would reinterpret this again in the strawberry lemonade.
Tones.
Yeah, you and I were on the same page right there. There's going to be a Klimt exhibition coming soon to San Francisco. I think it's the Palace of Legion of Honor.
I think so.
It's coming,
I can't remember
and
that.
I can't wait because Klimt is my favorite.
We have a bead shop.
We should a bead shop Klimt outing.
What's it called?
Offsite.
Offsite.
Yes, what a great idea, Grace. Well, let me show you, Glenda, how I actually put this together. I've got the loom right here, and I'm going to take the little thing out of the loom because I've warped it, and I've warped it with 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, you can warp your loom with as many threads as you like, but I went with 5 so that it would work with this woven clasp. And you can find more info on looming in our Tricks to Looming handout. If you go to projects, go to Tricks to Looming. I know that Drea's fast on linking, or whoever's linking over there. We're missing our Gita. I bet it's a little too early for her in Denmark. So Gita, if you're watching this on replay, we're sorry to have missed you today. But you can kind of squeeze in the ends and then make it fit. You can tell this is a magnetic clasp. You can make it fit right into that clasp. So what I did was, now that I've kind of done my little sampler, I'll go ahead and I'll get my little needle. And I used a size 10 beading needle. Emily likes to use a size 12 when she does seed bead school because she's working her beads back and forth throughout. But I like a 10. It's just, everybody likes things that are different. But I liked a 10. You can also use the looming needles, the really long ones. But since this isn't a really long pattern, or a really wide pattern rather, I won't do that. And also, I'm a waxer. I like to wax my thread, and see how the thread that isn't waxed on this side is super curly? And as I pull it through my beeswax, it's taming itself a little bit more. And as I loom, I'm going to loom with a single thread. So, and I'm going to wax it one more time. I like beeswax. Some people use a product called Thread Heaven. I'm just a little old school. I like beeswax, so that's what I use. And I'll really wax one of the ends really, really well to stiffen it up. And like Emily likes to say, you want to needle the thread, not thread the needle.
Virginia's asking if you can use thread conditioner.
Sure, like Thread Heaven, Virginia. I think Thread Heaven is kind of known as a thread conditioner, right? You could do that, sure.
There we go. And see, look, I don't even see very well. And I push that thread right next to my thumbnail and push the head of the eye of the needle right on the thread, and it went through just fine. So if you're going to try micro seal-on, you guys, and you can see the difference. See the size of the micro seal-on? Yeah, you can see that the micro seal-on is a little bit of a heavier weight. I would go ahead and use a different needle. I might loom with a big eye needle, which I do, and I love it. Or you could even, in a pinch, if you had a collapsible or a flexible eye needle, you could probably also do it with that. But this would be fun to experiment with as well. And I love this peacock color. And I know my mama does too.
She said
this is my mom's
blue and
favorite
teal.
color. Yep. This is my mom's signature color. It's her favorite, is teal. So I'm going to start in the middle right here. And the great thing with looming is that you can start in the middle, right? And kind of work your way out. So I hope you can see this grace. I can't believe I chose blue thread on a blue loom, but you know, what a surprise there. I'm going to push this little side corner in, and I'm just going to put some of my beads out there. So getting back to the question, how much do I plan? I plan a little bit. So I'm going to needle, I'm going to get maybe 1, 2 8/0, a 6/0, so that's 3 beads, 4 an 8/0, and 5 another 8/0. So I'll start right here. And I'm just going to bring them in, and I'm going to go kind of fast because we've done looming quite a bit. So this isn't really about the technique of looming, but more about using the beads to create a new look with looming. I'm going to leave myself a pretty good tail there. I know you're wondering, Kate, about how much thread did you cut. I cut maybe about 1 yard, whatever you're comfortable working with. But I have a good sized tail here so I can weave it in a little bit later. Now I'm going to needle back through, and I'm right-handed, so I'm working the needle with my right hand. Okay, pushing it through, kind of dragging the tip of the needle across the top of the bead so I don't split. I don't force my thread through the warp threads or through the bottom of the weft thread. And then I just tighten it up. Now, when I do my first row, I come in and I reinforce it one more time. I come over this, or under rather, this warp thread. I'm going to go back through again, and then I'll go through one more time. And this helps stabilize everything. And I'll put it back through. Yep, question, Gracie.
Lynn wants to see the back, I'm assuming, of the
jewel loom?
maybe.
Yeah, I'll show you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you that. I'll work backwards a little bit. And Lynn, when I put this aside, I'll talk about it just a little bit, okay? See, but then I can kind of pull everything tight. Not too tight. Not too tight. But I want to pull everything snug, I guess, is a better word. So now you can see that my little channels are kind of, you know, closing in, coming in a little bit more tightly. So I'm going to put a 6/0 on the end. I'm going to put an 8/0. I'm going to put 2 11/0, so that's 3 beads, and then 2 more 8/0, that's 5. And I'm counting again these 11/0 as 2. Okay, so I'm going to come in. I'll turn it round, and just nestle. Come on now, nestle. I said nestle. There we go. Those beads into the little channel. And see how now they just want to go right in. And see those 2 11/0 right there? They just nestle in as one. So I'm going to press my finger underneath and slide the needle through. Now, I know that I've got my 6/0 there, so I know that my first bead's going to be an 8, and maybe, I don't know, maybe 2 11s, or I could nix the 2 11s, whatever, but I'm going to do that, 2 11s. And maybe I'll just do 8/0 all the way across then, after the 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm not worrying about what colors I'm putting on. I don't know. Don't have it planned, you know. Just, this really is kind of a lesson in letting it go, trusting the color palette that's before you, and just kind of working it. So see how these two are offsetting. A line of 8/0 kind of brings everything back into balance. So if you feel like you're getting a little squirrely, do a row or two of just the 8s, and it'll pull everything back into focus there. questions, Gracie, so far?
No, there aren't any questions.
Oh, then I must be doing a good job.
A lot of people talking about looming, and Lynn says that she bought a loom a few months ago and she's procrastinating for some reason. She's like, what's wrong
Lynn?
with her? Because look how much fun it looks like you're having. And
It is. It's
Kim's
so
encouraging
fun.
her. And
Yeah. You know, the thing, what I find, you guys, is the hardest step, and I think you'll agree with me, getting that darn thing out of the box, right? Opening the package and just kind of starting to work with the piece, right? Or with your new tool. I get that way, where I'm like, oh, look how I have this new thing, and look how it's still sitting right brand new in this box. So this weekend, I want you guys to email a photo and put it on the beadshop.com Facebook page of you opening up your loom or a box or a tool or something. I would love it.
let me see here. Sylvia
that?
says that she's never loomed
This.
with bugles or different size beads, but she has a bugle bead project on her project board.
Yay! You know, I really like looming with those bugles. The Lalique cuff that Gracie and I did on Facebook Live a while back, it sure was fun, I'll tell you. It was
Super
really fun
effective.
to do, yeah. So see here, I want to show you guys, this is where I'm kind of, you might run into this a little bit. See how this 6/0's kind of tall right here, and then here's my 6/0 here. But see how this 6/0, and now I've put 11/0 next to it, it's giving me a little bit of open space. I can just push that down a little bit to close up that space, and then I'll come back in and go through like so. But let's say I'm going to push this down. Let's say that, you know, now this is kind of angled out that way. So I'm going to counterbalance that by putting a 6/0, starting with a 6/0, okay? So I've got a 6. I'm going to put maybe 2 11s because they're really small. Then I'm going to do the rest. I'm going to do 8s. So there's an 8 there, and there's an 8. And I'm going to put 2 11s right up next to that big 6/0. And I think it's going to even out the row. Let's see what it looks like.
Angela from our Wednesday broadcast, well, that's when I saw her first
Hey,
anyway.
Angela.
She says that you mentioned that you start your project in the middle, but she doesn't recall how you tie it all together in the end.
So what I would do, it's a good question. What I would do, there we go, see that? So see how it just kind of evens everything out there? So I kind of push everything together.
Gotta just lift it up a little
Sorry.
bit. No, no
Push
problem.
sorry. Push everything together, and there it is. So you just kind of build it as you go along. So Angela, what I would do is, if I started here and I'd loom up, and I would have my, whatever my length is going to be, my wrist is about 6.5 inches around. So I would kind of test it a little bit, whatever closure I'm going to do. And again, if you go to our Tricks to Looming page, there's a ton of ways to close these guys off. You could close it like we did the Lalique looming. You could do it with ultra suede, that kind of thing. But I would go here and I'd say, well, maybe this is around inch number 2, and then I'll get to your question, Gracie. And then I would just add thread. I would just go backwards from here. So I just put a needle on this end and weave out this way. If I needed to add thread, I could, and then keep going this way. So you're kind of working out at both ends. I hope that's helpful. Yep, question.
Beth is asking, what happens to the thread when you change direction?
Oh, no, nothing. No, you're just going in the opposite direction. Thread doesn't care. So where I would be, though, putting beads on, and that's the cool thing about this loom. I can just keep kind of flipping it around and going back and forth. So it doesn't make any difference. And then, of course, if I'm weaving, if I have too little thread, I leave, I don't know, probably at least 6 or 7 inches. I'll weave it back in, then weave another thread up, and then keep going. Okay. But this is looking good, and you can see that 5, 1 less row does make a pretty big difference. See how it really made that a lot smaller, and I think it works with this clasp this is our woven clasp, and I think it works really nicely with that.
Huh. Angela says suede closures. Wasn't that mentioned somewhere that they were stretching out at some point?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't had that issue. We've had some that have been strung for quite some time, and we haven't really had that issue, I don't think, with the suede.
Can we pause and show the back really quick?
Oh,
Lynn?
yes. Thank you for reminding me. So I'm going to flip this over because I think, was it Donna who
Lynn.
wanted, Lynn who wanted to see this. So on the back of the jewel loom, there are two little buttons, and you can see here, one on this side, one on this side. And the way that you start with the jewel loom, it has this little metal rod in it. So you put the metal rod in these little holes, and then it makes it bow. And then as you're warping the loom, all you need to do is go around this little button. So you're not going back and forth across the back of the loom. And then what I did was I tied it off here. I had my beginning thread that I tie off around the button, warp, 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 and then tie my ending thread off. And then I just get my two little tails, and I can make that knot just like so, right there. And then when I'm ready to cut the piece off the loom, I'll just come in with my scissors or my thread snips, and I'll give myself a good length, and I'll clip it away on both sides, and that's it.
Kim also mentioned that it's super light and portable.
Yeah,
And she says
easy to
in a
hold.
previous broadcast it was mentioned that placing a sticky mat underneath while looming is
Yeah,
really
and you know, we've got the little stickies back in. I think they're back in, or they're coming back in. They're on their
Yeah.
way. They're on their way. So you can get one of those sticky mats, just slide this on, and then it keeps it from moving around, which is really a clever thing. So let me show you guys I'm going to put this aside, and in the few minutes we have left, I want to share with you this piece that's peyote stitched, because I did want to compare and contrast kind of how it might be a little bit different with these different seed bead stitches. So you guys remember this project. This is ombre looming that Emily did, and you guys really liked it. You really, really liked it. We really liked it too. It was really fun. So we still have a few kits remaining in, I believe, this colorway, the morning, early morning. The golden ombre we have sold out of, but they'll be coming back in. Hopefully in a few weeks. Emily's cooking up maybe another colorway, but don't say that you heard it from me, okay? But there'll be some, we'll let you know how that's coming along. But I peyote stitched, because peyote stitch really is my seed bead stitch of choice. Emily is so clever with all of her seed bead work, but peyote stitch is kind of my jam. Question, Gracie?
So Angela again is mentioning the compassion suede loop stretch out that Janice mentions in a handout.
Oh, okay.
And that she modifies to include a button.
Okay.
I think she's talking about the looming, the way we used to end our looming.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not really sure what the question is. I forget. Deb says, are there 2 11s in one spot?
Yes, Deb, 2 11s. Even in this peyote stitch there are, and I'll show you. And you can see, here's the 2 11s right there. So I'm going to show you this.
Can you show that?
Yeah. So the 2 11s, pointing with my awl, because you've got to have an awl. My 11's there, and my 11's there.
Fantastic.
So let me get a little, we're going to run just slightly over, but I want to show you guys how this is done, and then
So
I'll let you get
Lynn,
on.
the one with the tape was done on the loom, and
Yes.
Kate's going to show you now.
Yes, the peyote. Yep. So this is the loomed one. Here's the peyote one. So you can watch our Free Tip Friday that Emily did with the ombre, the peyote stitch, and you'll really learn a lot about. Whoops, my thread. About the steps to doing the peyote stitch. So I'm going to do mine kind of fast because I would love to stay on all morning with you, but I've got to get a move on pretty soon. But I'm just going to really, let's get this beeswax there. Let's get this. And what I'll do, you guys, I'll do a wrap up with some of the links that I did to these pieces. I'll do a wrap up on the blog. It'll be up a little bit later today. So I needled my thread. I came through. Again, a single strand. Now, just as a reminder, I'm going to put my little pile. Well, I'm going to not put it there. I'm going to put my little pile right here so you guys can see it. There's our moon. I'm going to talk
Someone
about that
asked
right at the end.
about-
Right at the end.
She's just said, is that a face? And
It
just to find
is
the angle, you can't
right
really tell.
there. I'll put him right. Look at right there. Isn't he nice? I'll put him right next to that woven clasp. How's that? So he's looking right at you guys.
It's like it's a pillow.
Okay, it's like a little pillow for the moon. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to make it easy. I'm just going to do, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just going to do 6, and I'm just going to do 6, 6. No, 7, 8. There we go. I'm going to do 8 right there. And so I've picked, and they're all 8/0 to start with, to make it easy on myself. And I'm going to pull it through, and I'm going to have a little bit of a tail so I can weave it in later. And I'm just going to start my peyote. I pull one bead out, one bead on, and go through the next. Okay? And peyote is pretty simple. And as I say, I'm not going to do a lot of instruction on the how-to for this. Watch our Free Tip Friday, our Seed Bead School on peyote stitch for this one. Then I slide this one up, put on my bead, and go through. And a lot of you I know already do peyote stitch. This is an even count flat peyote. And I pull this up, tighten it down. The first row of peyote stitch is always just kind of a nightmare because it always looks horrid, but you want to just keep the tension going. So I go through that one, I slide my bead down, put on a bead, and notice again, I'm not doing anything too weird with sizes on this first row. I just want to get my peyote established. Okay. Tighten it all up. So see how that's just like a little zipper zipping on through. Slide that bead down, put on another one, and then go through my last guy here. So here, when you put on your first row and then needle through that first row, you've actually created your first 3 rows. Let me tighten all this up, make sure I did it right, because it's still early morning for me here, so I may not have had enough coffee. So see, let me just show you so you can see what's shaken. I've got 1, 2, 3 rows. Okay, so now I can start getting kind of fun with my peyote. I'm going to move our little moon. Can you see on the background? Is that on white? Is that better, Gracie? I don't know if it is or not. Okay. I'm going to put on this guy. And with peyote stitch, you just aim right through the little bead. So see, there's that hole. So now I'm going to jump in. I'm going to put on a 6/0. It's going to sit in that hole. It might be a little funny. Good morning, Cara. Cara's here, everybody. Hooray. It is. It is raining. It's kind of tropical here today. So see how that 6/0, it's pushing things out of proportion a little bit, but you're just telling that 6/0 that you're in charge. You're just going to keep putting another one in there and going through. Keep aiming for that little open space. Here's my last open space, so let's put in 2 11/0 there, shall we? And you guys just make yourself a little sampler. You know, it's okay. Your first rows might look a little funky, but you really just want to start keeping your tension. That's the thing. So now I just flip it, and I'm going to work my way back across. These 11/0, you can see that these guys that I put on, it's really obvious where I put my needle, but the 11/0 sometimes give me a little bit of sass because they're not that tall. So I'm going to put on an 8, go through, and I'll put on another 6. I love these turquoisey ones. I'm going to go through, and I don't know, I like the look of that. Whoops, get off of there, 11/0. And go through. And my last one, what should I put on? I'll put on, I don't know, I guess I'll put on an 8. Let's see what it looks like. The 8/0, the middle size bead, that's the bead that always kind of pulls things back together. So see what I'm getting? So you can see where the little holes where I need to come back through. I'll put a bead there. It goes there, one goes there, and one goes there. So you just keep peyote stitching back and forth. Yep, question, Gracie?
Oh no, I just saw Brandolyn. She posted our full moon button. Some
Brandolyn!
people were asking about it. And then I was like, is that Brandolyn?
Aren't you good? That's our Brandolyn.
It was a
So
little difficult to do, but I did it.
you did it. So let me talk to you about this full moon button. You guys are like, what the heck
Everyone's been talking
is
about it.
that button? So we've got some new check buttons in, you guys. And Karen, our web designer, webmaster, Karen loves kind of gothy, kind of funky, interesting stuff. And when we were looking at our check buttons, they had these moon faces. And Karen was like, Janice, get a moon face, for heaven's sakes. She didn't say that. Karen doesn't say heaven's sakes. But Janice was all, okay, Karen. And so we got them in, and look at, I love it so much. It's so interesting and unique. I think it'll make a really great addition. There's some more moon faces that we're going to bring in, but we just loved this color, and we thought it went with our sky, summer sky mix.
Jackie's so confused this morning.
Jackie?
She's like, why are you on so early?
Oh,
That was by
Jackie,
accident."
I'm sorry. We had to come on a little bit early because I've got some meetings today, and I didn't want to miss you guys on Free Tip Friday. So see how I'm putting 2 rows of 11s right next to each other? Pulling that in. So Free Tip Friday will return to its regularly scheduled time next Friday, I promise. I'm just sorry, but I didn't want to miss you guys. I had been planning this, so I double booked myself a little bit. So see that there? How this is, it's kind of going kind of like an interesting winding road, but as you can see in this, you just start to kind of pull it all together. That's really all there is to it. And just like Emily did, if we were going to add this button, I think I still have my needle. I'm going to pick up this piece now that I was working on. For those of you who saw the broadcast that Emily did with the ombre, this guy here, I'll put this in. She puts the button right in the peyote stitch, which I saw that and I did like a little happy dance because I thought that was the cleverest thing I had ever seen. And she's pretty clever, but that was a big contender for clever. So I'm going to try and do it myself here. My seed bead prowess isn't quite as fancy pants as Emily, but I've done peyote stitch and looming for quite some time. I'll have to bring some of my peyote stitch pieces in so you guys can see it. Emily's always bringing in her fancy samples, and I've got some pieces up my sleeve that I loved. So I'm going to come back in and I'm going to peyote stitch through this guy and pull it tight. Again, tension, you guys. Tension is the word of the day for peyote. I'm going to, so see this little open space? I'm going to put my button in there, and it's kind of a big space, so I'm going to put a couple of 11/aughts right underneath there to just kind of keep it from rubbing against the thread. Now I'm going to go through these 11s, and then put on an 8/aught, the great equalizer. Okay, there we go. So now I'll turn it and I'll work my way back. So I'll put an 8, and I think I'm going to do just a single row of 8s to even everything out here. I'm going to go through that. I'll put this one on. So now I'm getting to this pesky under the button thing. I'm going to go through these 11/aughts one more time, not putting anything on there. And then it's kind of like a little puzzle. Just fill in. Wait till we do freeform peyote. That's my favorite. It's like creating a little puzzle and filling everything in. It's really fun. And plus you use up all of your loose beads. So see, it's not quite in the middle, but it's close enough for me. And now I'm just going to keep going, and you can see that button is in there, you guys. And maybe underneath the button I'll do everything fairly even because, well, but the 6/0 is there, so maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just throw caution to the wind. Put that there. I'm going to put my 8/0 on top. It's only beads, you guys. Only beads. Don't stress. But you know what I am stressing about? I've got to end this because I've got to hit the road soon. I could peyote stitch with you guys all day, but see how that's locked in there? How fun that is? And then if we look on the other side, look at how great our moon face looks with this mix. I just love it. I love it. And then on the other side, we would do, just like Emily did, we would do a little beaded loop. And I would probably use, for this, I would probably use a uniform size. I'd probably use 8/0 for this loop there. And that's it.
You know, it's so funny. It does look very klimt with the face now.
Doesn't it?
because of
Yeah,
the
this
body.
is full, right? Full. Let's do our little klimt. Let's see, like maybe this would be like, I don't know, if we put it on
Reenacting the
there.
kiss or something.
Yeah, right. So there, we'll put that there. That's kind of klimt-like. And
so
then we'll
funny.
kind of put this, I don't know, here. I know, we've got to sign off. But let's do this and we'll make our little thing. There we go. Our
Very
little,
good.
our little
Very good.
scene. I don't know. Whatever. So it was fun. But, so just to reiterate, you guys, we've got this as the loomed piece, this piece here as the freeform, kind of, not freeform peyote, but peyote stitch with the different sizes. So whatever you choose to do, I think it'll be a really fun experiment. Do share with me this weekend if you do decide to tackle this. I'd love to see how you play around with it. And again, we were using our Summer Sky. I dumped out the whole tube, but it's our Summer Sky, it's our seed bead mix for August 2017. And you can find these are in limited quantities, the mixes, but there is a list on the page if you want to recreate the mix yourself. And make your own if and when we run out of the tube mixes. We're already thinking about our mix for September. It's going to be a fun one, but this will be equally as fun to play around with for the month of August. Well, Gracie, I guess I better wrap it up. I don't know if we want to move this guy here, and we'll, you know what I also should have checked is our coupon code. We need to check that too, because we did have a coupon code go out in your email today, and I should have thought about it before I went on air, but Gracie's checking it. What is it?
Laugh 25. Thank you, Clara.
Laugh. Thanks, Cara. Cara comes to the rescue. So, you guys, if you have not opened up your email, because I know it's early on the West Coast, go ahead and open up that email. We've got a fun summer sale going on all weekend. The code is LAUGH25, and it's for our newsletter subscribers only, but I do like to share it with you guys because I know a lot of our Facebook Live viewers are on our newsletter. If you haven't subscribed to our newsletter, go to our homepage, beadshop.com. There's a little newsletter box on the, if you're facing the screen, on the right-hand side. Just put your email right in there, and you'll be added to our list. All of your email stays private. We don't give it away, we don't sell it, we don't share it with other companies. So anything that you put in there will only come from us. Phew. All right. I'm going to seize the day, get out there, and have some fun this weekend, you guys. Let me know how working with a seed bead mix goes for you. Any last comments, Grace or Brandon, that we've got to finish up with?
A lot of people thanking you for the great tutorial and wishing you a happy weekend. And Emily says good morning right as we sign off.
Good morning, Em. Good morning. We'll see you next week. All right. Well, thanks everybody. On Facebook Live next week, Emily is back with me, and we are doing kind of a new colorway with pathways. It's herringbone stitch with super duos, and I think it's going to be really, really fun. So again, have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you guys next week on Facebook Live. Thanks a lot.